Warning: the following program may contain material not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The borders of space and time have opened once again. And transmitting from the mountains of West Virginia, it's time once again for Let's Find Out with Diego. The universe is waiting for you. Wake up and remember.
On this episode of Let's Find Out, get ready to dive into the amazing world of urban legends. Joining us is the founder of Ohio Urban Legends to guide us in uncovering the mysterious and haunted tales from ghost towns, cemeteries, and terrifying roads. With a booming YouTube channel, they investigate these locations, the history and stories behind each legend. Get ready for all things eerie and creepy that Ohio has to offer. All this plus more. Please welcome our good friend and returning guest, Josh from Ohio Urban Legends. Josh, my friends, welcome back to Let's Find Out, brother.
Hey, man, it is good to be back. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And as we're talking, the beauty of this show is when I have you on or other guests on, the pre-interview, I almost say, I'm not going to say it is, but it's almost as interesting as the interview that I'm going to release, because not only do we get to catch up and see these projects come to fruition, but, we're talking about all things YouTube, TikTok, social media, and the projects we've been working on. But I must say, I've had you on every year since I started, and now I'm going on year 4. You were one of the very first guests I had. You took a chance, a guy you don't even know, and here I am 4 years later, and you're back. This is episode 150, brother, a milestone, if you will.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, I hate saying taking a chance on you. The paranormal community is amazing. I mean, anytime people reach out, to ask for something or ask for help, or it's just reciprocal, man. We all just try to help each other. I try to like and comment on each other's content, promoting. Now Instagram, you can actually repost people's material. So it's just great to help each other out and enjoy the paranormal community.
Yeah, and they've been so supportive. And it was interesting you mentioned that, because when I first started reaching out, when my partner and I stopped doing the other show and I moved on, people responded, it's like, weren't you doing that wrestling show? I was like, yeah, but I had a little bit of the paranormal mixed in there, and it was kind of an easy jump just to, switch gears. But no, you were one of the very first, and here we are at that time, Ohio Urban Legends, and we're just talking about YouTube and social medias. You were in around, I want to say around 150 to 300 followers. And now you're well on your way to 2,000. And you also told me now, because this is a thing on TikTok, your views are astronomical. Now, compared to the YouTube, I don't know quite how to work the algorithms, but it seems to be working for you.
It's something I've been battling. First of all, being a content creator, when my son would watch all of the guys playing video games and stuff. I go, that's so easy. Anybody can do this. And I'm like, I'm going to start my YouTube channel, and this is going to grow like crazy. And if you could commit as this is a full-time job, 40, 50 hours a week doing it. It's incredibly insane difficult how much it is to just constantly be putting out content, and good content, and being consistent with it. I was trying almost every 2 days to post something on Instagram or on Facebook or wherever it is. And it's just, you get to a point where you're just like, wow, this is a lot of extra work I'm doing. Or just to come up with a 30-second script sometimes can take hours to put together, just to make sure you don't miss something that isn't accurate. So I'm like looking at 3 or 4 different sources of information, but I've seen a lot of I know some people like TikTok and some don't like TikTok, but I'm seeing a lot of views very quickly on TikTok. So I've almost streamlined a lot of my videos to 1 minute mark, and using TikTok to kind of push some of the views to get people to my YouTube channel. YouTube's just, I don't know, it's just tough on YouTube to get a leg because there's so many people on there, where TikTok is just so quick. So I've been playing around with the algorithms and what the hashtag and what the post and all that. So seeing a lot of success on TikTok versus YouTube, but it's a content creator game out there.
Yeah, so much competition, and I'm one of the ones that tells you I'm not in competition with anybody else. Yeah, for eyes and ears, of course, but I'm actually in competition for myself because I want to each thing I put out, I want it to be better than the last one, and I want it to be very informative and people to learn something out of it. If they take a little kernel of information out of it, success. Which is what we're going to talk about your YouTube channel as well. But all things come to a start. And I believe the first few times you were on the show, we discussed how the YouTube channel started and how it all began. But I want to go even further back, my friend, to when you fell in love with urban legends. What was that one story that got you? What was that one that springboarded you into this path you're on now?
Yeah. Well, it was early. It was started with watching like cult classic horror movies. Going to the movie store on the corner. We really did have a corner store video that was the size of a closet that we just go get crappy movies. By the way, one of them was, I think, Faces of Death, which they're just coming out with a remake or something of. But so I always like the old culty 80s horror movies. And then when I was in high school, when we had nothing better to do, it was let's just drive around. And my friends would talk about the Witch's Ball or Helltown or just any of these creepy urban legends. Like, what is that? And, this would be like maybe a couple towns over. But for us, when we were first driving, a couple towns over might as well have been like 2 states over. This is like maybe a 30-minute drive to go somewhere, which was unheard of when you were 16 in your car. You're just driving around. So if we would go drive out into the boonies, out of the country, which is not far from us in Ohio, but we would go and explore and look for these things and go over crybaby bridges. And that was when I was like, this is so creepy and cool, and nobody else is really talking about it. And from that point, I was like, what are these things? And then when you start digging into them, then you get more history. So I like the historic part. So all of my videos have a little tie-in, usually with some kind of Ohio history to them. So I like the historic part. And then walking through cemeteries. My dad, we'd always go visit cemeteries when we go visit family members in Alabama or whatever. And we'd go, let's go look at the family plots. So it always kind of felt normal and never felt weird walking through a cemetery. And they're very, very peaceful. And that's kind of what started it all. So, and it's just, when COVID hit, we had nothing better to do. It's like, let's start making videos on stuff I like watching or reading online and make our own videos for them.
And quite a number of videos you have, because I lived in Ohio for a certain amount of years. This is back in the early 90s. And during the point of that time, I really wasn't into these kinds of subjects. I would read them when I was younger. But at that time, I was into other things, other teenage things, cool stuff, like hair gel and blow dryers. And
yeah.
After a while, the older you get, you actually develop a love to read. Not everybody, but that's what happened with me. Kind of opened a whole different door for me. New subjects have popped up, especially with experiences I've had in the past. And we talked about that before we started. Were you surprised that Ohio has so many stories? Not only just urban legends, we're talking about cryptids, we're talking also UFOs. It's chock full of information.
So it is endless. And I would say probably that after the first year I started the channel, I started getting a little nervous that I was going to run out of content. I was like, wait, I'm gonna cover all of the urban legends here in a year, and what am I gonna do with this channel? And it's endless, man. It is nonstop. And I actually had this to talk about was, we'll go somewhere and so for example, we just came out with our Panthers Hollow video, and that was I went down, and this is part of Amish country in Ohio, and we were down in Amish country actually just to go Christmas shopping, and we stopped in to get lunch. And I think I was wearing an Urban Legend shirt or something. And the lady asked about the shirt, and she goes, "Oh, did you ever hear of Panthers Hollow?" And I'm like, "No, actually I haven't." And then she tells me a little bit about Panthers Hollow. and which is an urban legend, which we could talk about. But I wasn't there to do, and it was probably an hour. It's an hour drive from us, but I wasn't there to do that. So when I got home from Amish country, I looked up Panthers Hollow, and I was like, "This is amazing urban legend." And then I find out there's this haunted cemetery literally right down the street from there. So it's like, boom, boom. One thing I never even heard about turned into this awesome urban legend, and then it turned into this other haunted cemetery. And then when I'm talking to people about this haunted cemetery, they're like, "Oh, have you been to the Crybaby Bridge down there?" I'm like, "Oh my goodness, here's 3 more that I wasn't even on my radar, and now I'm doing videos for." So it's I could probably go another 40 years and not cover all of the hauntings and cryptids and crazy things in Ohio.
And that's just Ohio. You may want to move one day to another state. You're gonna start all over again.
Yeah, start over, yeah.
Yeah, but no, don't move from Ohio. It's a great state. I really liked it. Because I just saw the Panthers Hollow video, and I suggest all the listeners of Let's Find Out, our good friends, that go ahead and check out your YouTube channel, because there's so much more in there. It's I would say it's endless, because you put so much work. You're always putting some stuff out. I think you and I are in competition somehow, low key, of course. But in the spirit of what you just said with talking to the locals, you kind of did the same thing with the legend of the Loveland Frog.
Yeah.
And you're going there into towns, and I don't know about your side of the world, at least here where I'm at, it's hard to talk to people in public without them saying, "Ooh, back off, dude." But how are the locals taken to you when you go in there? You have a purpose. You go in there, you're doing your investigations, your research. You go up to somebody, one of the locals, and say, "Hey, have you heard about the Loveland Frog?" What do they say?
So that was my mom's idea. She goes, "You should just interview people and see if they know about the urban legend. That'd be cool." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm not going to bother anybody for that." But I went down to Loveland, and I can't remember what was happening. Stores were closed, or I couldn't get somewhere. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go wing this here and try to talk to some locals. So I went into a bar, and there was the bartender, and I think someone else was working it there. I think they were either just opening. And I was like, "Hey, you mind if I record you? Do you have any stories about the Loveland Frog?" Boom, right away. They have all of these stories, and it's some of what you already heard, and they add a little more to it. That's someone so and so had this experience with it. And I'm like, "This is great content, thank you." And I'm literally walking down the street past another bar with a garage door open, and some guys are sitting around. I'm like, "Hey, do you know about the Loveland Frog? Would you like to be on video?" The guy stands up. "I know about the Loveland Frog." He's telling me, just having just a blast telling me these stories. And then he goes, "Oh, that's also tied to the gates of hell that's right over here." And I'm like, "The gates of hell?" Again, it's like there's another thing that I never even heard about or knew. And then I think I talked to maybe one other person. It's just the same. It's just they get excited about it, and they didn't mind being on video. And there is actually my favorite part about the Loveland Frog is that the town of Loveland, if you walk into the coffee shop, they might sell little frogmen. The town has just embraced it. They're actually having a Loveland Frogman Festival the first weekend of March, I believe, where it's an entire weekend. They're bringing authors in, and they're doing all kinds of fun activities in the town. Like, they've really embraced that urban legend. It's just so cool to see.
One of the things about your video, you go to the locations, but you never tell people exactly how you get there.
Yeah,
and I know why you do it. It's very important as to why, but I was just like, well, this is the road I'm taking, but I go here, but you really don't know where I'm going.
Yes. You mean in the actual video?
Yeah. So
a lot of them I will a lot of them I'll just say where I'm at. I won't sometimes give clear directions, because for me, when it's just as fun finding the location than looking it up on a map and going right to the spot. An example of that is we did this video. I did it with my son and my best friend's son. It was called The Witch's Hill. And the only description online is that the tombstone it's unmarked, but it was surrounded by this old iron gate that's no longer there. And so I was like, let's let's not read exactly where it is. And I spent probably a good hour literally walking around the cemetery by myself before I took my son and my other buddy's son looking for this tombstone. And I was about to give up, and I turn around like I'm gonna go over here, and man, I see these little iron spikes coming out of the ground that resembled an old like fence that used to be there around a tree. Like it hit all of the urban legend stuff, and I was so geeked out. So even in that video, I say, if you don't want to know where the location is, stop here or keep watching. I'll kind of show you exactly where it is. So, you know, I like people will want to have that experience as I do of finding something and discovering something as opposed to there's a tombstone called Girl in Blue. It's in Willoughby, Ohio, and I couldn't find it. So I eventually looked, and somebody had the directions. It's 150 feet from a tree or whatever. So we were able to find it by the coordinates. But it's just so fun to just find it and think you're an explorer. You just found something that nobody else has seen before. So,
Well, you are a modern day explorer because you're putting a shine on places that people have forgotten probably for centuries, and you're kind of bringing them back to life in a respectful way, of course. Now, there's a second side to this because I know you go to these locations, and I'm going to use the example of a cemetery you were just talking about because you also have a background in paranormal investigating. Do you do a twofer, meaning when you go there, you visit the locations, get the content, you write the script, you make the video? Are you also low key doing paranormal investigating here too, taking your equipment or anything like that?
I was early on when me and my cousin and her husband, we were running more paranormal. We're still on Instagram. We were every couple times a year, we were going on investigations, and I was doing that for content. But no, now I'm just strictly on going and getting my content for the Urban Legend page. Maybe again, I will take my gear, but it's just get in, get the content. And most of the time I try to be really respectful in the areas that I'm in. So setting up shop in a cemetery or, wherever I'm at, like let's get in, get out and not look like I'm bothering anybody.
Yeah. No, you don't want to bother anybody because depending on where you're going, and it doesn't matter what state, when you go out in the woods, things could happen. I'm not just talking about, yeah.
I've been to a lot of places where there's no trespassing signs. I do not even mess with that, man. First, I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I'm watching any of my videos. So all my videos, I usually say, be careful of your surroundings so everyone can respect these for years to come. No, let's not destroy anything or bother anything, and especially anything, no trespassing. I'm not getting any trouble from any of that stuff. So trying to be as respectful as I can. And I will try to let my viewers know that too. And in any of the videos that show that, especially I think Holcomb Road, Haunted Holcomb Road, when you get really to the wooded part, you'll see no trespassing signs. I think I mentioned that in the video. Just stay on the road. There's no reason to get off into someone's property.
No, and those signs are not a suggestion.
Man, in some of these places you do not, it's woods and you don't know what's on the other end of the woods.
Yeah, and they're off grid. And
off grid, yeah.
You'll be off grid too. Trust me, if anything happens.
I can't remember if I told you a story. I was doing haunted tunnels at Ashland, this haunted tunnel in Ashland. I have pictures of them on my Instagram page. It's all just graffitied. It's a one-way tunnel. And I was by myself. It was maybe like 3:00 in the afternoon. I drove through the tunnel. I was like, I'm going to get some videos. I think was I going to get paranormal stuff? No, I wasn't. I was just getting pictures. So I got them. I went through, I was like, get some pictures on the other side, get out of my car. And this is a true story. And man, I heard like this noise going like, like, man, I don't know what it was. The hair like stood up on me, and I got in my car, locked the door, and left. I was like, I don't know what that was. That was freaking creepy. But at least it wasn't a shotgun, like someone cocking their shotgun, like get out of my yard.
I'd be scared of both. Breathing in the shotgun. It could be the same person.
I have since gone back to the tunnel, and that we didn't hear any noises. But man, that was probably the first time I've been in the craziest places at nighttime at 3 or 4 in the morning, and that was probably, and this was 3 or 4 o'clock in the day, and I was spooked.
Well, talking about roads and routes being spooked, here's one that pops up because you sent me some of these notes, places that you're going to be either you already been or you're going to.
Yeah.
Route 93.
So, so Route 93. So that's going to be a new one for me. So this is again when I'm posting videos and everybody watching will comment, "Hey, have you been to Ohio State Reformatory?" Like, yeah, of course. That's like the biggie. I'm looking for the little nooks and crannies that no one's ever heard of. And I did one, and it's called Haunted. It's Hemlock Road. It's haunted, and people are like, "Oh, have you checked out Route 93?" And then I think I had maybe 3 or 4 other people comment that. And I'm like, what is this? I'd never even heard of this. Again, here's another one. And if you just Google like haunted Ohio 93, someone has like a map of, a drawing of the Ohio 93 with different attractions you can visit or different urban legends and whatever is there. So that's one I'm going to be exploring. I think like maybe the Moonville Tunnel and Irontown Tunnel and maybe a couple other hauntings are on there, but I haven't even investigated this one. It's one of my bucket lists for a new video to come out and see what is in store down that, what's going on there. Cause it seems like a ton.
And how far out is some of these locations? Because Ohio, deceptively, if you look at it in a map, it doesn't look that big. It's a lot bigger than we think. How far out do you go?
Loveland was pretty far from me. It was like 3 hours to get down there. Usually I try to, sticking around a 2-hour radius. I know it's unfair to Southern Ohio, and I do have some stuff planned for Southern Ohio, but sometimes it's just easier for me with kids to just bop out somewhere it's an hour away. Or luckily, literally right by me is the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. And I know your listeners are from all over, but we have this amazing park system. It was cut through the glaciers. And it's beautiful and it's haunted. And there's just, you could literally have a map like that guy did for Route 93 with just every single, there must be hundreds in there. So I could literally spend the next 2 years and just hitting all of those urban legends in just like a 10-mile radius of each other. It's just an amazing place. So
just back to back, one after the other. And well, let me change gears, switch gears for you here for a few seconds, because a lot of the things that we're interested in sometimes come to a crossroad. When we talk cryptids, paranormal, supernatural, ufology, and so on. Have you ever been to a location where there's been reported UFO activity?
No, there is I'd have to look it up. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. There's a street in Ohio. It's supposed to be the street where the most amount of people have seen UFOs. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I have to go on my Instagram. It's on there, the picture of it. But I've never had any weird feelings. Have you heard the story about the 2 guys fishing in Salt Fork State Park, Ohio? This literally just happened. This just happened maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It's February 27th. My mom actually told me about this. 2 guys in Salt Fork, they were trying to go fishing, and apparently like 3 hours vanished, and they had no idea what happened. The guy said he was still baiting his fish hook, like it's only been a minute, and really 3 hours of time went by. That's all I know about the story, but that's a big alien abduction story going on in Ohio right now.
I am embarrassed to the bones right now that I have not heard this, because I've always got I'm on the lookout for these things. That one, as soon as we're done tonight, I'm gonna go look at this, because I need to find out.
You got to check. Do you like the X-Files or the show X-Files?
I did. Yeah.
It reads like an episode of the X-Files of what happened to these guys. I mean, it's enough where I'll probably end up doing a video on it, because how my mom was like, "Do you hear about this?" I'm like, "No, come on, that's not a video." Salt Fork, by the way, is one of Ohio's biggest areas for the Ohio grassman, our Bigfoot. So for them to have, like, when you go into the even the resort there that's by the state, they actually are selling Bigfoot gear. It's that massive there. So for them to have Bigfoot now, alien sighting, I mean, come on, we have nothing here in my town.
Oh no. Well, maybe that's a good thing.
Give us something.
Yeah, you don't want those kinds of neighbors running around your yard. Now,
yeah, check that story out. It's pretty cool.
Well, I definitely will. As soon as we hang up, I'm definitely gonna do that. You piqued my interest, and I love this. Is why I do this show. Learning a lot of new things. when you're traveling to these towns, and it's completely off the subject. When I first came to this town, I found this diner. It's got the best French toast in the whole that I ever had in my life. No one would ever think about this diner having the best French toast I've ever had. During your travels, aside from bringing your own snacks, do you stop at the local eateries?
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially if I'm with my kids. So when it's kind of funny you say that because I was going to have that as one of my stories. We stopped in Salem, Ohio. So we were doing Salt Fork and Salem, and there's another big town that have a big Ohio grassman sightings. And so we stayed the night because it was kind of a drive. But we tour around the towns. We try to visit, spend money while we're there. We went to actually have the downtown Salem is beautiful. It's like an old town, and they have all the different little shops and stuff. And we went in an actual soda shop, and we're I think we're on our maybe my third YouTube video, something like that. And we're talking to the guy behind the bar giving us soda, and he goes, "Oh, have you heard of Gretchen's Lock?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And so he was telling us about the Gretchen's Lock urban legend, which I just came out with a video over like the past, like I think the summer, maybe I made it maybe 2 months ago. So, but we saw him 2 years ago, and it just was like, let's, just exploring the towns and entertaining the towns we're getting. Like, and again, that he told me that the Gretchen's Lock, we're at Amish, we're in the Amish area, and the lady there is telling us about Panther's Hollow. It's just go into these towns and visiting, you get 3 more ideas, or you hear stuff you've never heard of before. And the cool part of that is the Gretchen's Lock thing that was a part of Beaver Creek State Park in Ohio. And I've never been there. I don't know what it is. And I was like, I'm going to go check this out. So I'm going through, and on my Google Maps, it says Ghost Town. I'm like, Ghost Town? I'm going through an old ghost town that's actually labeled on Google of an old town that was part of the canal system, and that's where the Gretchen's Lock was. And there's an old abandoned mill that you can see. And I actually passed where I was supposed to go, and then I dumped out in like an old town area that they've recreated of all the old mills and all the history that went on through the canal system. So here I'm exploring for Gretchen's Lock, which I heard of from a guy in a town I was visiting for another urban legend. Now I'm going through a ghost town to see history of the canal system in Ohio. And then I hear about this. I'm like, so excited about all this stuff. Here's more content. Then I find out that right down the road is where, do you ever hear of the old bank robber, Pretty Boy Floyd?
Yes.
He was like in like the 30s or something. He died and was murdered, shot by the FBI like a mile down the road, and they actually had his body on display there for a little while. And this guy was public enemy number 1 by J. Edgar Hoover back in the day. So it's like, oh my God, like you're just getting all of this cool paranormal, cryptid, urban legend stuff. And then all of a sudden you're in this ghost town of this old mill from the history of the canal, and then Pretty Boy Floyd, and you're just like overwhelmed with this cool area of Ohio, which, man, I would have never in a million years been in that spot ever if it wasn't for doing this.
And it's one of those things you kind of like have a magnet towards these things. They come to you no matter what town you go to. You find out this little bit of information, because I believe it's my opinion that people feel very comfortable talking to you. They're going to bring up these things, and they're going to tell you, hey, have you heard about this? Because that's just part of the thing, because you tell these stories, you research them, you tell them very well. Of course, we talk about your YouTube, and also we talk about you have a TikTok, and we'll go into that here in a little bit. And I'm gonna ever so often chicken on you this year forever. We're friends forever, so you're gonna get used to it eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all this information, these locations you've been to, the content you have out there, the stuff that's in your brain that you can just remember and just comes out. I'm feeling there's a book in your future. And I know we talked about it earlier, maybe not, but I don't see why you wouldn't.
No way, man. I hate writing. and just writing these scripts for the videos gives me anxiety, and
Oh, yeah.
you're at the point now where what is AI, capable to do. So you're trying to, I'll use AI for some images in some of my videos, but I might have it help with a double check for my history on something. I won't have it write a script for me, but it's so difficult to write even 2 paragraphs down. I can never even imagine a book. So I know you have, and that's amazing, man. It's unreal I couldn't even write a 2-page paper in high school. I hated it that much.
It was way out of my comfort zone, and I wrote it, and it sat on my hard drive for about 5 months. I went back to reread it. It's like, what am I doing? This is awful. So I redid everything else. I had my wife spell check, and then Thomas Markham from Zombie Media looked at it and did his part. Give me some suggestions for the next one, which I'm working on something right now, but it's suffering from being on the hard drive itis.
Yeah.
And maybe one day, and I'll share with you some of the stories I'm looking into
Yeah.
after the show. So
maybe one day. We have really good authors in Ohio that have already come out with some amazing books. James, I think it's James Wills or James Willis. He has a ton of haunted Ohio books, and there's another lady, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. They have some amazing books. There's even another woman that has a all series of books about cemeteries in Ohio, and it's just, they're all so well done. I get a lot of inspiration for them. They're usually a source for me to double check 2 other sources from online for them. So I think James is going to be at the Loveland Frog Festival too. So, and he was super amazing. I had this idea with my kids that maybe we could read one of his stories and make it kind of creepy on the video for maybe younger kids to get into it. And I reached out to him on Facebook. I had this really good idea. We'd promote your book. And he was like, absolutely, go for it. And we didn't do it. My kids didn't end up wanting to do it, but this community is just so nice.
it is very supportive, and it's one of those things where you meet a lot of people. First impressions, that guy's not into this. Then you
Yeah.
start talking about these paranormal stories or UFOs. Like, really, you're into this? Yeah. And you meet another person you would have never met in your life, and then your circle starts growing. Your circle of support starts growing. That's the thing we talked about earlier as far as the paranormal community. Very welcoming. Every once in a while, we have a few bad apples, but I think that happens everywhere.
Yeah, and luckily haven't had any experience with any of that. So all has been pretty good. So, but by the way, in Beaver Creek State Park, I forgot to mention this, was literally when I was going past, you going over a Crybaby Bridge of a lady called Esther Hale, who allegedly this is probably like in the 1800s or something. She was left at the altar and was devastated. And on August 12th, I think it's August 12th, every year you're supposed to see her ghost. So this was, I think, right around after I did the video or something. So August 12th, you got to remember, I got to go down there to see if I could see the ghost of this Esther Hale.
Bring your video phone, bring it all.
That one I will take. That one I would take some paranormal gear and check it out.
It'd be kind of cool if you did a live stream from that.
Yeah, or do a live stream. Ohio also has I can never remember the town. I'm so bad. My memory, man, as I'm getting older. There's the Abraham Lincoln ghost train comes through maybe Minerva, Ohio, something like that. I don't know if you've heard of that urban legend. I haven't done it yet, but I think that's in April. Every year you're supposed to see the ghost train of Abraham Lincoln. So that video, hopefully I might do that before April.
You're already getting ready to put out more content. You haven't put out all this content we talked about earlier before. I mean, I have a whole list of things. This is your brain is always on fire. And now it comes to the part where we're going to talk about some awesome merchandise that you have. That's a big build up for that. And because I know you got your Melonheads shirt, and I know you have other shirts available as well. That Melonheads thing, that was amazing because, on another side tangent, I know that there was a filmmaker that made a movie about that. Not a couple years ago?
Yeah, we were lucky enough. It's called The Melonheads House of Crow, and it's actually on Pluto. What's Tubi? I think it's Tubi. It's actually on Tubi, and yeah, it's a real movie. It's like a B-rated movie. Is it B-rated, something like that? And they used my buddy's animation that is in the video, and they used some of my snippets in the movie, and we got an IMDb credit for it. So that's probably, I think that's like your favorite urban legend Ohio. It's probably my one or two. And then my buddy, he designed a couple logos for me. He designed this one, the Loveland Frog. He designed the Ohio Urban Legend, and I think one other one for me.
Yeah, that story always stuck with me. And in fact, you're the first person I learned it from.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a great. And that the crazy thing is that's not even the first movie about the Melonheads. That's like the third one that's come out. And there's 20 YouTube videos out there about it. It's just an awesome, creepy. It's a perfect urban legend. It has everything you want out of urban legend. It has swollen cryptid kids. Conspiracy theories with the government. It has a haunted cemetery. It has like Russian hoax to it. It's just all kinds of craziness to it.
Oh, don't even talk about the Russian hoax stuff, because you're gonna get a lot. It's gonna get crazy with that, and we'll maybe, when I bring you back on the 200th episode, we'll get into that. You piqued my interest with that. Now, for the listeners of Let's Find Out, our good friends out there that love Ohio urban legends and they love the shirts, they want to get some of the merchandise, where can they go find out about it?
Yeah, I don't have the shop name right next to me, but if you just Google Ohio Urban Legends merch, it's on there. I'll send you the link to put up on here. We have Melonheads, a Loveland Frog. We have some fun monsters ones, and just some other paranormal type shirts. The Ohio Grassman, or no, the Orange Eyes we have on there, which is that's one of the other ones that my buddy helped design. There's some cool jackets with that. So, not a big self promoter on that, but if people like merch, we have some.
Oh no, we're gonna promote the merch. We gotta get them on people. We gotta get them ordered, send them to their house, and so you can go ahead. Because sometimes, interesting enough, some of these shirts or the caps are something that brings in the people that start talking about these things, these stories. It's an eye catcher. So I'm trying to say, is a conversation starter, is an icebreaker, and I think they're really cool to have. And I'm getting ready to order my very own shirt here shortly after we get off the show.
I love wearing them because like we went to Disney World and someone's like, "Oh, you're from Ohio?" It's like, "Oh yeah." So you're just meeting new people and learning new things. So
there you go. See, just what I said, but you said it a lot better than I said it, of course. Now, we're coming to the end of the show here, but I do not want to ignore this part, because I know that all your videos are on YouTube, but you're also on TikTok. Now, here's my question. On YouTube, you can pretty much put out any kind of length video that you want. It's my understanding that TikTok is a little bit shorter. With the information that you have, how challenging is that to condense it to such a shorter video?
So I'll take usually all my YouTube videos are 3, 4, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I think my longest one's maybe 8 minutes. All my reels are about a minute. So I'm just trimming the fat or getting out maybe some of the history stuff that's in there and getting right to the details. And if you want to hear more, go to my YouTube channel. Yeah, TikTok it's got to be quick, man. People want that little quick dopamine hit. What's the next thing? And people won't even watch 2 seconds of a video anymore. So it's like Matt Damon just said, that's how Netflix has to make movies now. The explosion has to be right up front, and they have to keep reminding people of what they're watching because everyone's on their phones when they're watching a movie. So you got to be quick to the point on some of this stuff, man.
Yeah, that reminds me. It might be. I don't know if you're familiar with this director, John Woo. I think it was late 90s, early 2000s. From the get-go, we're shooting, we're exploding. Now here's the plot.
Yeah. That he did. That's wait, that's not Jackie Chan movies. That's the other guy. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, because
I can't think. I'm like brain dead on a couple things tonight, man.
That's okay. There's so much we already covered, and so much more to come here definitely on episode 200. Coming soon to a theater near you. Josh, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Man, I love talking to you. Ohio Urban Legends is one of my favorite things out there on YouTube right now. And Please follow, share, subscribe, and watch the videos. Josh, man, I don't know what to say, but thank you so much for being on the show, and I look forward to having you back on very soon.
Great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you, my friend.
Copyright Diego the Podcaster. All content for Let's Find Out is the property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Let's Find Out. The information shared on Let's Find Out with Diego is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.